Hello, and a very warm welcome to all you IGNOU aspirants. If you're deep in exam prep, you already know that health economics is a big one. So today, we are going to unpack a really critical unit, the demand for health services.
Here's how we're going to break it down. First, we'll get to the bottom of what health even means in economics. Then, we'll see how that powers a whole country's development. After that, we dive into the juicy stuff, why healthcare markets are so weird and why they often fail. And we'll finish up with a checklist of key takeaways you'll want to have locked in your memory for exam day.
Okay, let's start with a big question, the one that frames this entire topic. Your examiners are definitely going to want to see that you've thought about this. When we talk about good health, is it something we just enjoy, like a consumer good? Or is it something we're building up for the future, like an investment?
And the answer, in true economics fashion, is it's both. Think about it like this. Good health is absolutely a consumption good. You get direct utility, right? It just feels good to be healthy. But it's also a powerful investment good. Every healthy day you have is another day you can work, earn money, and be productive. It's an asset that pays dividends, kind of like your education does.
Right, so if health is an economic good, we can't just talk about it in vague terms. We need to measure it, just like we measure things like GDP. So how do we check the vital signs of an entire nation's health? Well, let's look at the key indicators.
Now, you're going to want to pay close attention here because these two, IMR and MMR, are incredibly important terms. The infant mortality rate, or IMR, isn't just a statistic about babies. It's a powerful signal of a country's overall development, things like sanitation, nutrition, and basic healthcare. Same goes for the maternal mortality rate, or MMR. It tells you so much about how strong a country's healthcare system really is.
And hey, to make sure this sticks when you're in the exam hall, here's a little mnemonic for you. Just remember your MIC. M mortality indicators are crucial. That helps you remember MMR, IMR, and the crude death rate. Super easy to recall under pressure. Oh, and here's another classic exam question. What is the difference between CALYs and DALYs? Look, the easiest way to keep them straight is this. CALYs, the Q is for quality, measure the positive. It's all about the gain in quality years of life from a medical treatment. DALYs, the D is for disability, measure the negative. They measure the years of life lost to disease or disability. So CALYs are a gain, DALYs are a loss. One adds, the other subtracts. So now we know how to define and measure health. Let's zoom out a bit and connect the dots. How exactly does the health of a population become the engine for a country's economic growth?
This is absolutely fundamental. You know the Human Development Index, the HDI, right? It's how we measure a country's overall progress. And look what's right there at the top of the list. Life expectancy. Health is literally the first pillar of human development, even before education and income. It's the foundation for everything else. And the economic impact of that foundation? It's huge. Just think about this number. Major research has shown that just one single extra year of life expectancy in a country can boost its long-term GDP per capita by about 4%. I mean, wow, that is a massive return on investment in health. And you can even see this whole idea play out at the level of a single company. There's this fantastic concept called the efficiency wage hypothesis. Basically, it says that paying your workers more than the minimum they'd accept isn't just being nice, it's smart business. Why? Because higher wages lead to better health and nutrition, which in turn leads to more motivated, more productive workers. It's a total win-win. Okay, so if health is so amazing for the economy, why don't we just leave it all to the free market? Well, this next section gets to the very heart of health economics. We're going to explore all the ways the market totally gets it wrong when it comes to healthcare. The number one reason the market messes up is a concept you have to know: externalities. It's just a fancy word for spillover effects. Your personal health choices affect other people. The best example, of course, is getting vaccinated. You're not just protecting yourself. You're protecting your family, your neighbors, your whole community by not spreading the disease. That's a huge positive externality. Now, because of these externalities, we have to think about health in two special ways, and these are key terms for your exam. Some parts of health, like clean air or sanitation programs, are public goods. You can't really stop someone from breathing clean air. But the bigger idea is that healthcare is a merit good. That means, as a society, we've decided it's so important that everyone should have it, whether they can afford it or not.
And here is the direct result of those positive externalities. The private demand for healthcare, that's what you or I are willing to pay for, is always going to be less than the social demand, which includes all those spillover benefits to society. And since the free market only responds to private demand, it will always underproduce healthcare. It's a classic textbook example of market failure.
All right, so we've got problems on the demand side. But believe me, the supply side of healthcare is where things get really interesting and, frankly, a bit weird. Let's dive into that.
Okay, the biggest, most important concept for understanding the supply side is asymmetric information. Sounds complicated, but it's dead simple. It just means one person in a deal knows a lot more than the other. In healthcare, your doctor knows a ton about medicine, and you, well, you probably don't. This massive information gap is the source of so many problems.
Because of that information gap, you get this really tricky situation called supplier-induced demand, or SID. Just follow the logic. You're the patient, you have no idea what's wrong, so you have to trust the expert, the doctor. But the doctor is also the supplier, and their own financial interests could influence their advice. They can literally induce demand, convincing you that you need more tests or procedures than are actually necessary. It's a huge conflict of interest.
Now let's add another layer of complexity: insurance. It's supposed to fix things, but it actually creates a whole new problem, perfectly captured by this quote. We're talking about the famous problem of moral hazard. This table breaks it down perfectly. If you don't have insurance, you pay the full price for care, so you're probably only going to go when you really need to. That's efficient. But with full insurance, your out-of-pocket cost is basically zero. So why not go to the doctor for every little thing? This leads to massive overconsumption, which is inefficient and creates what economists call a welfare loss.
Wow. Okay, we have covered a ton of ground. So let's do a quick, rapid-fire review to make sure all the most important concepts are locked in. These are the absolute must-knows for your exam.
Okay, here we go. The big stuff. Number 1, health is both a consumption and an investment good. Number 2, know your indicators: IMR, MMR, QALY, and DALY. 3, remember that health is a core part of the HDI. 4, the big reasons markets fail. Remember positive externalities, the idea of health as a merit good, the problem of asymmetric information which leads to supplier-induced demand, and finally, moral hazard caused by insurance. If you can explain these, you are in fantastic shape. And that wraps up our explainer. We've seen all the different ways the market can stumble when it comes to providing health, and that leaves us with the million-dollar question, the one you'll be thinking about for the rest of your studies. If the market fails, what's the right thing for the government to do? There really are no easy answers. Thanks for joining me, and seriously, good luck with your exams.